Coming up on this episode of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast. It's that time of year, and this is the first annual year in review and highlight reel of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast. I'm going to take a look back and talk about some amazing things that have happened and also some stats about the podcast. Which episodes were your absolute favorites? And then there's going to be the highlight reel, which is my absolute favorite. I think you're going to love it. It's a collage of the best parts of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast from this year. Enjoy, and I wish everyone a very happy new year.
Welcome to the Venus Cuckoldress podcast, a place to learn all things cuckolding for the curious, the passionate, and the sexually empowered woman who wants it all. Make sure you go to venuscuckoldress.com to subscribe to the podcast and check out the Venus blog. And of course, if you love it, share it. Now, sit back, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the show with your host, Venus.
Welcome to this episode of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast. I'm your host, Venus. Thank you so much for joining me for this extra special episode, the end of the year. It's the Venus highlight reel, and we are going to go over the best parts of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast for the entire year 2021, and what a year it has been. I'll also talk a little bit about which episodes were the most popular, where people are listening from, and get into a little bit about what's going to be happening for next year. Okay, so let me just start out. I want to recap the whole year, but I want to start out by saying that I realized that with this pandemic, 2020 was a fucking horrible year for a lot of people, and same with this year, 2021. So I just want to recognize that this has been a shitty fucking year for a lot of people. However, I do want to focus on some positive today, and that being this podcast. And I feel really proud of how far it's come, what I've been able to accomplish. And so I really want to celebrate that with you, the listeners, today. So many of you know that this podcast started in January 2020. I've been blogging for years before that, but that's when a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should start a podcast." And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And I went for it. And all of last year was just me talking about cuckolding, didn't have any guests or anything like that. And little did I know, it was really popular. And it was the beginning of this year in January where I quit my day job and I said, fuck it, I'm just going to work on this podcast. Best decision I ever made, by the way. It's been amazing. And thanks to all of you listeners, this podcast has gone from the top 2% last year to the top 1.5% in the world this year. And just past 750,000 listens. Like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm just like, wow, mind blown. But having said that, I mean, I have put a lot of work into this podcast over the last 2 years, but especially this year. Obviously, it's my full-time job now. I was able to actually hire some staff to help me out with the podcast and with my new matchmaking service, venusconnections.com. And I've been able to open up the Venus Cuckoldress blog to guest posts, and holy shit, some of like the most thought-provoking, most interesting, hottest stories about cuckolding are on the Venus Cuckoldress blog now. Like, it's just amazing. Anyway, so thank you to all of the contributors who have made it such an amazing blog this year. And of course, I've continued on with the live Pillow Talk events throughout the year. I think I've done like 8 or 9 of them this year. And a big thank you to Cuckoldress Scarlett and Cuckoldress Anne for joining me so many times. But also, too, I've had other guests this year on Pillow Talk, Confident Cuck, Drew Marston, Pagan, and Kennedy most recently. So thank you to you all as well. And one of the things I started doing for my Patreon supporters was doing some one-to-one conversations on Discord and group conversations on Discord. And I have loved those this year. They've been a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone who has participated in those. I've enjoyed having those conversations with you. And in the beginning of this year, I set out to do 1 weekly bonus mini episode. So every single week on Wednesday, I have released a bonus mini episode to my Patreon supporters and Apple Podcast subscription listeners. And yeah, that was a lot, actually. It really was. 51 episodes, mini episodes that I did this year. And a few more accomplishments that I just want to rattle off for this year because I'm just like, holy fuck, there was a lot. I was able to add quite a few things to the recommended resources page on venuscuckoldress.com. I also started writing a monthly article for ASN Lifestyle magazine, and I have enjoyed that a lot. And I was so lucky to be able to help Dan Savage with a question that he received for his Savage Love column. And oh my God, yes, of course, it was the highlight of my year. Dan, if you're listening, you were the highlight of my year last year, and you're the highlight of my year this year because I'm such a huge fan. So anytime you want to call me, ask me for a favor, it's always going to be a yes. Let me just say that right now. And, I was in a couple of magazines this year that was actually really, really cool. The first one was scandalouswomen.com. That was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that one where I was like interviewed for it, and it turned out really great. The other one was for Lifestylers magazine where I did a cover and an article for that one. Again, really enjoyed that, had a lot of fun. And this year I started with FullSwapRadio.com. And so the Venus Cuckoldress podcast is airing on Full Swap Radio every Tuesday at 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. Central Time. And the last couple of things, I started selling merchandise, and that was so cool. I've got some really great t-shirts, mugs, and even a pillow for Pillow Talk. Yes. And so that's available on venuscuckoldress.com. That's new. And most recently, I have been doing a lot of talks on the Moan app, which is my new favorite app. And that has been awesome. There have been so many really great conversations on there. So download it. Right now, it's, I think, so far only available on iPhone, but it is called the Moan app, M-O-N. It's great. And last but not least, I was lucky enough to be a guest on several podcasts this year, including The Curious Girl Diaries, What Women and Other Wonderful Humans Want, the Shameless Sex podcast, Consenting Adults, and Erotic Awakening. So thank you to all of those podcasts for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to share my love of cuckolding relationships. And also one last thing I want to mention about the podcast for 2021, I really wanted to put a lot of work and effort into improving the quality of the podcast. So that's why I've put so much work into doing the trailers for each episode. Also more editing. Yay, editing. And doing new intro and outro music. And I've also started finally just sending out professional microphones to my guests because you could tell, I think about halfway through the year, I just got fed up with like phone conversation recording. And I was just like, fuck it. I want this to sound good. I'm just going to go for it. And it made a huge difference. All right, now let's get into the stats for the episodes. I found this so fucking fascinating. So this year I have released 25 full episodes and 51 mini episodes for a total of 76 episodes this year. And for the second year in a row, the most popular episode has to do with interracial cuckolding. No surprise there. It's definitely one of my favorite topics. So the episode called When She Gets Hooked on BBC, Interracial Cuckolding, that was number 1. And that included myself with Cuckoldress Anne and Scarlett. So that episode just so happened to be a little controversial with a few people as well. But nevertheless, very, very, very popular. So number 2 for 2021, second most popular episode was Ultimate Cuckolding Fantasies. Happens to be one of my all-time faves too. I must say that was a lot of fun to do that one. And number 3 was The Ultimate Wedding Gift. And that was with my friends Jack and Kissy talking about their wedding day, which was one of the hottest stories I have ever heard in my life. And just for fun, I'm just going to tell you about 2020. What were the top 3? Number 1, When She Goes Black, Interracial Cuckolding was top of the list. Number 2 was Cleaning Up, one of my fucking favorite episodes ever. And interestingly enough, number 3 for 2020 was Women Love Cuckolding. And the Venus Cuckoldress podcast, like I said, has been really popular this year in 2021. Just a little popular. And we surpassed 750,000 downloads this year. And it has been listened to in over 18,000 cities across the world. That's 194 countries. The United States makes up the bulk of that. It's 60% of the listeners come from the United States. Second is a tie between Great Britain and Canada, 7% each, followed by Australia, Germany, and then all of the rest. Now, which cities were listening the most to this podcast? Number 1, Columbus, Ohio. Number 2, Chicago, Illinois. Number 3, Atlanta, Georgia. Number 4, Los Angeles, California. Number 5, Dallas, Texas. And number 6, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So how about that? That's some pretty fucking amazing stuff for the Venus Cuckoldress podcast for this year. What's coming up for next year? So January 2022 is the 2-year anniversary of the podcast. And of course, I'm going to have a big fucking party for it. Sort of. I'm going to have a big celebration anyway. And lots of prizes, lots of giveaways and contests. Now, there's going to be a prize for a random draw of my Patreon supporters in January. There will be lots of different prizes to choose from and several given out. But the grand prize is going to be so fucking cool. I've had so many people request this that I'm like, okay, yes, I know you want this. It is the opportunity to actually help me out prior to a date with one of my bulls. So that's like helping me get ready, choose my outfit. You're going to follow along with me on video. It's totally fucking private, just between me and you. I think that would be so fun. So fun. So you can look forward to that. More details to come on my Patreon, patreon.com/Venus Cuckoldress, or just go to venuscuckoldress.com to learn more. All right, it's almost time for the highlight reel. First, let me say thank you so much to all of my guests that I've had on the Venus Cuckoldress podcast this year. A special shout out to Confident Cuck, Scarlett, Jack and Kissy, Cuckoldress Anne, Bunny, Black Bull 100, Dr. David Lay, Cuck S, who is the husband of GTA Hot Wife, Key Barrett, May, James, who is the husband of Cuckoldress Anne, Drew Marston of Spades Magazine, Pagan, S&D, Jack, who is the husband of Bunny, my friends Chloe and Lana Rose, and my friend Jay. And most of all, a big thank you to all of the wonderful women who contributed to the Collective Voices project that I did this year to show love and respect to all of the cuckolds out there. All right, let's get started. Here is the highlight roll. Here are my favorite parts of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast for 2021. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and cheers to the new year. I am so excited. I have so many things to announce. I should probably think about leaving my day job and just doing this podcast. Everything is kind of telling me to go in that direction. So that's exactly what I did. I quit my job.
If you like seeing your woman, get fucked by another man, you're a cuck, and that's awesome, and it's great, and we should all unify under that, because that's a term that everybody uses, and that's the one that we really have to stop the stigma with.
She brought something up that she had never said before, and it really surprised me. But basically, she said that she doesn't know if she could enjoy sex at all unless she was really emotionally bonded with the person she was having sex with. Each time we would talk about cuckolding, it would seem more and more like she was getting on board with it, and then I just felt like all of a sudden kind of the rug got pulled out from under me.
For women, it's really difficult to imagine that by going and sleeping with someone else or having this sexual encounter with someone else, that experience is actually going to create these huge wave of emotions, of love, of closeness, of trust between you and your cuck. So you think that you're missing out on that by fucking someone else, when in reality, you are actually having this insanely euphoric moment between you and your cuck.
It's a completely different experience, right? And if you've never conceptualized that other experience, if you only know sex as this close, bonded, intimate act based in love, then it is going to be hard for her to conceptualize. And I think what's so hard for this listener is that he really feels like, when he said I was punched in the stomach, oh gosh, I felt for him. I think that what he's facing is that it feels like a closed door. But I don't think it's a closed door, and I'll tell you why.
So, they're kissing, and I'm lifting up her white wedding dress, and he's pulling down her panties, and next thing you know, for the first time ever, he goes bareback with her. An hour after we got married, I'm going down on her after cleaning up. And so then we have to race back. We got 100, 200 people waiting for us. We get back to the reception. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, they're doing the, you got to get up there. It's their wedding dance.
He just loses it, right?
He just melted.
He completely lost it. And so I'm like, okay, and they start the music, and I'm like, okay, step left, step right, step left. And I'm oh my God.
I couldn't move. I was like, my mind just was lost at that point. And we get up there and I'm like, are you ready? And then what does she say to me? What did she whisper in my ear?
Honey, that just cum is running down my thigh.
She's been gradually warming up to it. This is a discussion we've been having for a few years now, and it went from absolute hatred of the subject even being broached to now it's more or less casual acceptance and kind of a dread, I guess you could say. If I were to, give her to another man, it seems to her as if I were pimping her, and I really didn't even know how to respond to that.
Being an empowered woman, when I heard that he was saying that his wife had the impression that he was giving her to another man and being pimped out, that bothered me, because nobody owns you.
He used those words, dread and apprehension, when thinking about how to actually take the steps into making this happen. This idea of being with other guys is just too terrifying for her, and always will be. I mean, this is just not something that she wants to do. And that may be the case. Certainly the language that she's using is indicating that, like, she wants nothing to do with this. I think this caller needs to understand, or at least accept or consider the fact that, look, this might never be for her.
I opened his phone and there was a search page that had something to do with cuckolding on it. I saw the word cuckold and I was like, what is that? I had no idea what it was. And so I just took it over to him, and he snatched the phone out of my hands so fast and was instantly so embarrassed and was playing it off, and he was like, it's nothing. I was just like, what is that? And he was just like a little kid, running away. Just didn't even want to look at me in the face. I think if it's presented to you, don't let that slip away. I've kind of just broken down and just been like, thank you for letting me just explore myself and my sexuality, and thank you for trusting me, because that's a big thing with it too. It's just been incredible.
Okay, listen up, husbands out there.
Right?
There's a very good tip in how to communicate about this with your wife.
I guess they have large black guy fetish over here, and I guess I fit that. I walked into the room and I've seen kind of the looks, the women cutting their eye at me, especially here.
Yeah.
I mean, because I am exotic here. The first time I saw it, I was blown away. Oh. Instant hard on. Instant. I'm like, it's just beautiful, just to be branded.
Yeah.
To know she knows exactly what she wants.
There's been a tremendous amount of research now that has looked at self-identified sex addicts and porn addicts, and has found that I was right, and you, Venus, hit the nail on the head, that this is really about shame. The more we fight our sexuality, the more we fight our sexual desires, oftentimes, paradoxically, the stronger they become. I try and help these guys to accept that they're a person that has these fantasies, to accept that they're a person that, these sexual desires that they think they shouldn't have are a part of them. Can you love yourself for having those aspects to your sexuality? Can you explore how those aspects might actually help you to see the world in a different way, to see masculinity in a different way, to see your wife in a different way?
He tells me, when he first told me about his fetish, it was all these fetishes swirling around in his head, right? He was into small penis humiliation. He wanted to be cuckolded. He wanted me to be more assertive and dominating, that he wanted to be made to feel submissive. And so that's stuff I have to adapt to. And I've been trying, and the moment it seems like I grab on to that idea and I start to run with it, it's like he pulls out real quick and he tells me that's not what he wants.
As a cuck, or as a guy who wants to be a cuck, you really, really gotta, look in the mirror and say to yourself, okay, I want this, it turns me on, but am I really ready to do it? It's like he wants this, it gets turned on by the kink, it's all hot and everything. But then all of a sudden when she's saying, okay, well, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna take the lead and all that sort of stuff. All of a sudden this guy's going, whoa,
yes,
hold on a second. The only thing I can say to anybody listening is that I've been through it in our journey. Well, you know what? When I was ready to tell Z what was going on, or that what I was into, I woke up in a cold sweat. I was shitting my pants. I have to tell this person what I'm into.
And this is key, is that it's not about losing a part of who you are. It's about actually gaining so much in the relationship. You actually gain so much more by giving this gift to somebody else.
After that, I only look for Black men because there's something, I don't know if it's our chemistry, it's the makeup of our chemistry, but I'm so attracted to strong, fit Black men.
Fucking them and realizing what I was missing before that was pretty mind-blowing. And it wasn't long after that I ended up getting my first Queen of Spades tattoo.
I met this bull and, oh, Venus. He just, holy shit. He rocked my world to bits and pieces. And I finally found a sexual partner who could match me in stamina, in virility. Like, we fucked all night. And when I say all night, I'm not talking about 2 rounds and then he's asleep and I'm masturbating or whatever. Like, I'm talking all night long. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know that kind of like you need an ice pack on your pussy after that.
Seriously. I need some TLC in here.
I've often played with cuckold fantasies for many years now. I've never articulated them to my partners, but I've often wondered if I should. But my biggest fear is, the old saying, be careful what you wish for. How do I know if cuckolding is for me? How do I know that the reality of it is not going to be very different to the fantasy and I might regret it? What would you recommend that I do to kind of answer that question?
I love this question. Should I be careful what I wish for? And how do I know if cuckolding is right for me? I bet there's so many guys wondering the exact same thing. For this question, for this listener question, I enlisted the help of 10 guys in this cuckolding lifestyle to give their best advice for this guy. And this collection of answers is absolutely priceless.
If you're really worried that having your wife hold your key for 2 weeks is going to turn you into something that you're not, you probably need to look a little bit harder at what's going on with your life. Sitting in the car and having her reach over and touch my hand when I was driving, and all of a sudden I've got butterflies in my stomach. It was wonderful. We were in a relationship where I was a good husband. I wanted her to feel like, she's entitled to her pleasure, all that sort of stuff. But this was like a level beyond being entitled to your pleasure. It was believing that your pleasure is paramount. Female pleasure is amazing to witness. It is so different from male pleasure. It is this, sort of earth-shattering kind of just amazing sort of thing. And when you're locked in chastity and this is all you're going to get, you hang on every moment. It's like this incredible validation of her sexual needs.
I am all about the emotional part, but the closeness and the unexpected benefits from doing this blows my mind every day. I thought I was just going to be going and having sex with other men. What happened was me and us diving into all these things that we had never talked about, and even things we never knew about each other.
Wow.
And especially for me, because I had never spoke up with what I wanted. you have this power to make your husband melt at just stepping into your power. Like, just melt into this ball of love for you because they want you to be that powerful woman. It is so amazing to feel sexually empowered. And that is something I had been missing. But sex is not something I felt confident in. And now that I do, and I'm exploring my confidence in that, I feel happier and better than I ever have in my life. I knew that there was going to be a time where he was going to need some reassurance. And I wanted to make sure I could give that to him even though I wasn't here. Part of the letter that I wrote him while he was sitting here waiting for me. And I was saying, without you protecting me and making me feel safe, I would have never discovered this piece of myself. I would have never had the sexual awakening. So thank you for allowing me to do this.
I want to get married on a beautiful white sand beach somewhere, overlooking crystal clear blue waters. I want 5 of my favorite black guys, and they will get a special invitation to the event. They will watch us take our vows and maybe even slip into a few of the photos with the bride and groom. After the ceremony, they join us in our honeymoon suite, and that is when all the magic happens. I can picture myself on my knees, my ring sparkling on my finger, my hair perfectly styled, and my makeup is totally on point. My pretty white dress contrasts sharply with the smooth, beautiful black skin surrounding me. The photographer in the background will be making sure every incredible moment is expertly documented for me. I will look over at my husband and ask him to come over to me. I want a comparison photo. God, I love those photos. Then he goes to sit back in the corner to watch. My black bulls move forward towards me and they take me. They take what they want and they don't have to ask. My mascara runs down my cheeks. My blonde hair falls out of place. My dress eventually ends up in a big, messy pile on the floor. I take all of that big black cock like I'm made for it, because I am. I look over at my husband, watching me, loving it. I smile at him and I say, I love you, baby. I am in heaven and he is right there with me.
I have, as my uncle used to say, been black all my life. And I have never, ever heard spade used as a derogatory term. And so I just kind of began to look it up and tap into like my nerd side and look up the history of it. And so a friend of mine who's an etymologist, studies the origins of words, kind of helped me out with this. Words have meaning, and I think we have to understand the origins of them and then the correct meanings of them. And sometimes those aren't always clear. And then I also think that we also have to take back those terms in many ways and show that there can be positivity and just great things that can be associated with those things, and not necessarily some of the negative things that some people may have meant about those things.
Sometimes she will get dressed in a way that, just to do dinner, let's say. It's just like, oh, wow, you look great, but then at the same time, yeah, that outfit she wore with who was that? And, just like that. And then you start getting these memories back, and you're just like, and so she does me well in that respect. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to be ashamed of that. This is something that you shouldn't like about yourself. I believe that we are all wired to a certain way. And I think you have to, recognize that this isn't a bad thing. And if there's a community out there that you connect with, you can understand that it's a good thing and try to become more comfortable with it.
Interracial is fucking hot. When people talk about like, well, I don't know if interracial is racist or not, I am more than happy to have the conversation. I'm not happy to engage with someone who thinks they're going to teach me that it's racist. They don't question because pop culture and movies have all shown us the guy that's on his knees in a diaper with a dominatrix and a whips and chains. So they know kind of what that is, even if they're not into it. But none of them conflate that with actual violence. No one says like, oh, well, if you're going to go to that dominatrix, you're going to probably walk out of there and assault someone on the street because you think violence is okay. Everyone gets, no, that's in that room with that person that you're paying to do that. And then you walk out and put on your business suit and you go back, to your life. Yeah. But they can't, for some reason, sometimes apply that to the exact same thing, which is race play. In that room, there's a reason why the word play is there. No one, I would think, should conflate that with actual racism.
And tell me about this group that you have called the Four Horsemen. What's that all about?
The Four Horsemen, in a nutshell, I would say it's all about spreading the love. I don't put 10, 20 guys in a room for a gangbang or something like that. My niche is high quality guys that fit a certain criteria. And by that, like some of the basic things are the guy being, well built, the guy being able to have a few drinks and be cool. I've basically done the work for you. And so when you call me, I can fill up that room with the guys you want for a smaller experience. And you can just relax and enjoy it.
So I have heard from some people that you are really good at setting the mood in the room.
But like all of those things that make people go, huh, you thought ahead. That's all you really need. It makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel like you're in good hands and everyone can relax a little more.
It's that moment where it clicks. Like she's getting what she wants, and there's the other side of it, what fulfills me, and I'm getting what makes me feel good in that space as well. And it just took a minute for us to figure out how to communicate it to each other.
S said the thing that I liked about that was seeing you with other people. And I was like, well, guess what? I liked being with other people. So it sort of evolved from there. And then, there was a discussion of denial. There was a discussion of, hey, let's go to a sex shop and look for cages. Let's talk about cuckolding. There's no time that the two of us feel closer physically than in the times that I'm fucking someone else.
It's true. That is the purest, most distilled form of our sexuality, and it has been for so long. I think denial is like a form of psychological edging. I've told her many times, and this is just so true, it's so hot because nobody else could give this to me.
These things that I'm saying that feel kind of on the surface to be hurtful, that if I'm saying them the right way, that they're really loving and that they're really giving him what he needs.
How do I approach this? The truth of the matter is you approach it from, what is it? If vulnerability turns you on, tell them that and mean it. And we can be having a totally banal kind of work week, kids stuff, school, all the things that interrupt anybody's normal flow of their sex life. And then just one day, 1 minute of a day, out of the blue, she'll be like, She'll just say something. I don't even know. She'll just be like, get your tiny cock over here and do this thing. And I'll be like, yes. That's that will change your. It's like getting flowers. It's like it changes your whole day.
The reality is just so much different than the fantasy in good ways.
This is what I need you to explain.
Yes, in good ways and in bad ways. Well, I don't want to say bad, but like there are challenges that you just don't know exist until they're staring you in the face. And there's good elements that you cannot understand if you're just watching a 15-minute, porn video. Yeah, I was feeling very insecure, and I was worried about how she was feeling towards me. I asked her that, frequently, like, how are you? Are you happy? And how do you feel about me? And we had a really good conversation. It was just a couple minutes of her just kind of ranting at me in the most loving way of like, listen, I respect you so much more now. We're coming into this lifestyle from different perspectives. We're coming into this lifestyle with different baggage. I mean, she had pretty much no baggage. She's coming into this from a fresh perspective, and she's getting quality resources and perspectives right off the bat. I, on the other hand, have 7 years worth of programming and bad messaging and beliefs about myself that, like I said, I'm still unpacking all that stuff. The cuckolding fantasies being realized, yes, that's amazing, but my wife coming into her own sexually has always been my number one fantasy. To see my wife have this excitement and satisfaction in her life sexually, she carries herself different. She looks different. She's happy and she's vibrant. And she's always been happy and vibrant, but now it's like on another level. I still have moments where it hits me and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, is this real? Like, is this us? This doesn't feel like us. It's so like fantastical. And you know what's kind of shitty is that like I didn't even think about that part of it when we were talking back in December about this lifestyle. I was thinking about like, oh, it would be really hot if you slept with other people, which was kind of funny. Like she called me on the phone like after she left, and there was all this sexual tension built up on my end, but she was like, I'm starving, do you want anything? I'm like, yeah, but like, how was it?
Starting out on a cuckolding journey together is so exciting, but there's often a lot of questions. There's also usually a lot of pressure and stress that comes along with it, especially for women. Does it really need to be that difficult? Shouldn't it be a lot more simple? What if there is a better way to do this? What if there are other ways to incorporate cuckolding into your relationship, which maybe you've never even considered before? Maybe this can be a lot easier if we just look at it a little bit differently. These are the kind of sentiments that some guys feel about cuckolding. That it's not possible for someone to love me because I can't give them the quality of sex that other guys do. Here we go. Let's dive right into this. Scarlett, tell me what you think is behind this. Is it the messaging that cucks or guys are getting, or what is this?
A cuckoldress will have many bulls, but she will only have one cuck. And it's so true that this position that he has in her life is so valuable. Nobody will ever replace or take his place. Like, he is in that just very, very special, deep place of deep romantic love that no one else can give her. So a question for your listeners who are interested in cuckolding: if you look at it that way, instead of looking at it like, oh, I'm really into this and it turns me on, think about the fact that this is an opportunity for you to do something for the woman that you love that no one else can do for her. Mm-hmm. No one can give that gift unless they're in that ultimate place of love and trust.
She has to be comfortable. She has to, you know, a 10-inch dick would terrify me. Well, it might not terrify me so much anymore, but but, you know, if that was my first time out and that was our pillow talk, it totally would terrify me. Yeah. The idea might like turn me on in the moment, but when it came to reality and I saw that in front of me, I'd be like, where am I going to put that?
And one thing you must never forget, marvel her and give her your wholehearted compliments. You know, tell her that you just find her so fucking hot, so attractive, and just stare at her across the room. Like, just make her feel your gaze.
All right, there's one thing that I have not mentioned that I think is absolutely crucial for women to gain confidence, and it has nothing to do with men. It has everything to do with other women.
There are a lot of failed relationships within cuckolding and just DS relationships when that angst can't ever be dealt with on a fundamental level. And I think people can work on it, but there are definitely some people that it's just like, this is kind of like a fork in the road where it's like, maybe this is not for you. However, you can also look at it the other way, kind of how I do, where I kind of lean into the angst, and I see the angst as just a part of the dynamic and part of my devotion to her.
Wasn't there some sort of competition she made you enter into?
Oh, yeah. There is a gay bar that held a small penis contest. And of course, my girlfriend entered me, and it was non-negotiable that I was going to be participating. And I did end up winning said contest.
All of a sudden, in the middle of sex with her boyfriend, she calls out someone else's name, some other guy's name. So unexpected for him and so hot that he just lost all control. He said it was the hottest sex of his entire life. You say, hey, baby, I'm so glad that you bought that. I love it so much. I can't wait to wear it, but I won't be wearing it for you. But fucking his friends, I love the idea of that. And I know that scares a lot of guys. It really does. If it is something that's on the table, fucking go for it, because that could be, oh my God, so fun. When I come home and I have this like freshly fucked pussy and I get my boyfriend or husband to go and put his face in between my thighs, and maybe as he's doing that, I'm telling him all about the experience I just had with some other guy. My friend Mistress K, she brought this up to me and I was like, holy fuck, that's so savage. If you're gonna go fuck another guy and your husband is at home by himself, she said, I take away his phone. I don't watch a lot of cuck porn at all. Interracial, yes. Cuck porn, no. I've just never found anything that I really loved. And so I got to thinking recently, maybe I'm missing out on some really great videos that are out there and I just don't know that they exist. So I asked the listeners, send me your favorite videos. I want to watch them. And today I'm going to review them. I feel like I've got like Mozart in the background and oh, it was so fucking bizarre. And it was like the crescendo of the piano playing and they're fucking. And I'm like, this is so weird. It is directed and produced by a woman. And she has a very unique style. This was very, very cinematic and beautiful and artistic. And I feel like I just went from like the McDonald's of porn to a high-class restaurant. Anyway, there was parts of that video that I really did like. And of course, that Shane Diesel's dick, like, my God, it's so big. She's trying to do a blowjob and she can only get her mouth like around the tip. It's awesome. It's really funny trying to watch women try to deep throat Shane Diesel. It's like, honey, it's not going to work unless you have some molars removed. And even then, it probably won't fit down your throat. And that is the only time in this video where she does shut the fuck up because she's got a big black dick in her mouth.
Cuckolds are fun and adventurous. Cuckolds are loving.
Cuckolds are selfless.
Cuckolds show strength and devotion.
Cuckolds are brave and courageous.
Cuckolds are intelligent.
Cuckolds are important.
Cuckolds give the ultimate gift of trust.
Cuckolds give the gift of sexual empowerment to women.
I love my cuckold husband because he is the sexiest, strongest, smartest, and most loving human I know.
I love my cucky because he has given me this gift that has made us stronger and closer and more since we've started it and the journey we continue.
I love my cuckold husband because he is my rock, my best friend, my true love.
I love my cuckold husband because of all the ways he supports me and my journey.
Cuckolds give us the safety that we need in order to be our true selves within a relationship.
I love cuckolds because of their high level of self-awareness and emotional integrity.
I love my cuckold husband, James. James is sexy and loving and my never-ending champion, without hesitation sitting beside me while I drive. Cuckolds, know that you hold your own sense of empowerment to be able to freely embrace and support your cuckoldress's sexual prowess. Being her champion is being the strongest person she will know.
I love cuckolds because they put my needs, my desires first without questioning.
I love my cuckold because he trusts me with his vulnerabilities. As Bob Marley said, being vulnerable is the only way to allow your heart to feel true pleasure. I can't think of a better way to connect with someone. Can you?
Cucks are wonderful. They are the best partners. They are sexy. They are challenging sexually to be with. Trust me, being a cuckoldress in relationship with a cuck is like the most challenging, exciting sex dynamic I have ever been in my life. If you hear this loud and clear, know that this is the reality. That's the funhouse mirror. And make that separation between the two, because you are valued as a cuck and you can lead out the lifestyle of your dreams.
All right, that's going to be it for this last episode of the Venus Cuckoldress podcast for 2021. Special thank you to all of the amazing guests who I've had on the show this year. Also, to everyone who submitted a question or comment for the show. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Special thank you to everyone who supports this podcast on Patreon. It's because of you I'm able to do this work. Thank you to everyone who continues to listen to this podcast and show some interest in loving, cuckolding relationships. Thank you for making this one of the best years I have ever had. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you next year.